All right, folks, good morning. Happy Friday morning. To those 9 to 5ers, happy Friday. We got a rainy day here, but it is warm. It's 60 degrees in Hampstead. It's going to get cooler throughout the day. I think we're going back down to some lower temperatures for a few days. Let me get my text-to-speech going. There we go. All right. All good. All right. Here we go. Let these commuters go by. I pulled away because I didn't think I was taking my Starlink an extra minute. All right. After this, we're going to go. Here we go. Time to get these donuts rolling. Let's pursue some happiness. All right, we're a little early, but that's good. We've got 2 deliveries today, and the donuts were not ready for the second delivery yet, so we're gonna make 2 runs. We're gonna make the run down to Lenny's, come back up, and then we're gonna do a second run to What a Day when those donuts are ready, which should be. We'll be back up here in about an hour, maybe a little bit more. So we should be good. We are running about 5 minutes ahead of schedule. No, 10 minutes ahead of schedule. So we're in good shape. It is raining pretty hard right now, actually. When I woke up, it was 66 degrees and it was not raining. So the rain just started within the past hour. But it's coming down a little harder now. Yesterday was beautiful. It was a very nice day. So I was outside most of the day yesterday. Whoa. Little accident. What they did. It's odd. That looked weird. I didn't see another car there. Just one car in the middle of the circle. But I didn't see anything in front of it. Maybe there was something in front of it that I missed. It's rainy days are always more challenging for a ride along, you know? You got the windshield wipers going. But hey, that's what happens. Yesterday, I went to Fort McHenry down in Baltimore, which once I got on the road, I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking of the fact that it was opening day for the Orioles. So going downtown was a little bit more challenging than usual. It wasn't that bad. But yeah, I went down to Fort McHenry because I learned that they have cherry blossom trees.
Fort Gal says, good morning, Craig.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How's your Friday? How did the dentist
Fort
appointment
Gal
go?
says, love cherry blossoms.
Yeah, so listen, so I was, since I'm going to Washington next week, I'm kind of afraid that they might be past their blooming period. I mean, maybe they'll still be blooming because it is going to be cooler. Like, it has a lot to do with the temperature, and the temperatures were very warm for a few days, but I think the next 3 or 4 days we're going to be down in the 40s and 50s again. So I think that's good for making the cherry blossoms a little bit later, like it might push them back a couple of days. So if that happens, that's good, because next Thursday I'm going to be in Washington. But yesterday I went down to Fort McHenry because they have 159 cherry blossom trees around Fort McHenry. I didn't know that until the day before yesterday, but I thought, well, maybe there's some place I can go a little closer to Washington.
Gal says, wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I took my gimbal. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I went down and I walked completely around Fort McHenry, and I filmed the whole thing using my gimbal, which was amazing. I really like it. I mean, I'm certainly not a pro yet, but I've got the basics down, and I really like it. I really, really like it. So I walked.
Fort Gal says, awesome. Can't wait to see the upload.
Yeah, I started working on it last night, and but I have a lot to go through. I was going to make a short, but then it got too late. I couldn't make the short, but yeah, I got some pretty good views. I even got, when you're looking out from Fort McHenry, I didn't go into the fort. You can go down there and walk around, and I don't know how long that trail is. It goes around the entire fort, and there's a lot to see as you're walking around it. So it's not like you're missing a whole lot. But I didn't go into the fort. I'll do that another day. I wanted to get there. If I'd gotten down there by 10 o'clock, I probably would have gone in the fort, because they have, every day at 10 o'clock, they have this ceremony where they change the flag. So they bring the flag down, they do a whole big deal. I think people that are in the fort at the time can participate in that event. So they do that at 10 o'clock and they do it at 4 o'clock every day. But I was there around noon, 12:30. So yeah, I got some pretty good views. But the cherry blossoms were not blooming. They're ready. You can tell they're ready to go. But they're not blooming yet. So they're just like the little pink buds, but they're ready to go, man. They're all puffy and swollen. They're ready to go. So it won't be long. It was also opening day for the Orioles. So there were a whole lot of people walking around downtown with Orioles shirts on and stuff. And the traffic was a little heavier than usual. Because Fort McHenry is not downtown, but it's not too far. So, and it's actually on the same side of town that the stadiums are on. So I did.
Work gal says sounds like you had fun.
I did. I was out a little longer than I expected. Because then on the way home, I figured, well, I'm out, I got my gimbal, let me go to, I've talked about going to a mall. There's this mall in Westminster that is, it's like slowly dying. There were more shops than I expected. I thought it was more empty than it is. So I walked around in there with my gimbal. That's where I was going to go originally with my gimbal to test it out. But I tested down at the fort. How was the dentist the other day? Everything turned out all right? Did he get his picture taken?
Work gal says good he has perfect teeth.
Oh, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're supposed to have rain this morning until 8 or 9 o'clock, something like that, and then it's going to be cloudy the rest of the day. But the temperature, it's 60 degrees. It was 66 when I woke up, 60 now. I think we're going down to the 50s, like the lower 50s, and then we're going to hover around there, 40s and 50s for a couple of days. I think that'll be good for the cherry blossoms, though.
Sean White says morning.
Hey, Sean, good morning. Happy Friday. Hey, I listened to you a couple, and I had it on my phone, but I was driving back from some shopping yesterday. I heard you, I guess it was right before 4 o'clock, because you were gonna, I think I listened to you for about 15, 20 minutes, and then you were gonna drop off to listen to the baseball game. So I was there in spirit. I just couldn't type.
Short gal says GM on. Short gal says how many deliveries today?
Can we do this late? Can we do this late? 2 deliveries, but I only have 1 in the van right now, so we've got to go back to the van. I mean, back to the bakery in between. So we got Lenny's. Is the one we're doing right now. And then they were still making, they hadn't finished the donuts for What a Day yet. And if they're only going to be about 10 or 15 minutes, I'll wait, but it looked like they were going to be about maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. So, figured we'd get this one done. There's some rainy weather out here this morning. Oh, you know what too? I'm going to make a short of this, but when I was driving back from Fort McHenry yesterday, I passed this, I think they call it the mobile monument, or the traveling monument, or something like that. So I was on the highway that goes around Baltimore, and it was extremely backed up. I mean, we were moving like 10 miles an hour, which under normal circumstances would not be your preferred situation. But so I came up on this thing, and it was like a bell. It looked like the Liberty Bell that was being pulled on a trailer behind this truck. Like, what the heck is that? So it was a 9/11 memorial type thing. So there's this bell, and I took some film of it. I took some video of it as I passed by, because we were going pretty slow, so it actually worked out to my benefit. So I went by it. I didn't look it up. I was going to look it up last night, get some more information about it, but I want to make it short. But yeah, I never saw anything like that. So it must have ride around and go to different locations. But it's a 9/11 memorial type thing. Kind of cool.
Short gal says, oh wow, that's interesting.
And it had like a piece of steel on it. Like, so there's the bell, and then there was a piece of steel I could see. I imagine that's probably from the towers. And then on the back of it, it said, "Let's roll," in a Todd Beamer thing. So that was pretty cool. Traffic was pretty crazy going into the city because of the baseball game.
Kim C says, good morning, everyone. I hope you are not wet and soggy.
Hey, Mookie. Good morning. No, not yet. Actually, it's letting up a little bit. What's going on over there? Police escort. Something going up the highway over there. It's letting up a little bit. This would be very good. If it's like just drizzly when I get to Lenny's, that would be a very good thing. It was raining pretty hard though. but it let up. As soon as you joined the chat, the rain let up. It's like a miracle.
He says I accept the responsibility.
We just need to hold out until I get to Lenny's. It's warm. I mean, it's 60 degrees, so there's that. That's a positive thing. A lot of traffic for Friday morning.
King C says it is still raining here outside of Pittsburgh, and many areas are under a flood warning.
Jeez. Yeah, I think we're supposed to get rain. Well, rainy, cloudy. I think most of our rain they said was going to be in the morning. Then the temperature is going to drop. Has your temperature dropped? Like we're in the 60s now. It's supposed to be going down to 50 and then 40 overnight, that kind of thing. Like we're going back into cooler temperatures for a while.
Gal says ours dropped over 20 degrees. It's raining here too. GM Mookie.
Oh wow, so you're getting cooler too. And that was bound to happen because the temperatures we were getting were more like late spring. Not early spring.
Says right now it is 43 degrees, but tonight it will drop to a low of 25.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna get...
King C says good morning. At night, 333.
Our temperature is going to drop throughout the day. Like this is the warmest it's going to be. When I woke up, it was 66. It was very nice when I woke up, and it hadn't started raining yet. almost turned the lights off, but I didn't. So Mookie, I went to Fort McHenry yesterday because I learned that they have 159 cherry trees, and I thought instead of going down.
Kim C says, I wish there was something I can do to my car to stop that windshield wiper chatter.
I know, me too. I know. But they have 159 cherry trees. I learned that because I was looking for a place where I could go and see cherry blossoms in case they're gone when I get to Washington next week. So I found out that all around Fort McHenry, they planted all of these cherry trees. I forget when they said they did it, maybe 100 years ago? 12, maybe a little over 100. But and they did 159 because that's how many public schools were in the city of Baltimore at the time. Kind of interesting. But they weren't blooming yet. I went down there, I walked around the fort. I didn't go in the fort, but I walked around the fort. And I did take some video, but I didn't have time last night to play with it. But yeah, there were a lot of trees. There were a lot of cherry trees. They were not blooming.
Kim C says, did you use the gimbal or wear your cherry blossom costume?
I did use the gimbal. That was my first time really walking around with the gimbal, and it was amazing. It really was amazing. I liked it. So I did do that. I didn't wear the cherry blossom costume. Yeah, I didn't wear the cherry blossom. I thought about wearing my suspenders because it was warm enough. But then I thought I'm just filming. I'm not going to do anything live because I'm not sure using the gimbal live. I can do it, but it's a different process because you have to connect to. You lose a few of the features because you need to connect to YouTube instead of going through the gimbal app. All right, here we are. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. We got to get this delivery done before the rain starts. Let's turn that down. Here we go. I'm in park. Where are my peeps? And I don't see anybody in the deli. There's that car. See that car? All right, if they don't come out, I'll break one of these windows one day. It's not going to be pretty. You know what? I'm a little bit earlier than usual. But they're not expecting me.
333 did Craig purchase some walking around suspenders?
My suspenders that I have are multi-purpose. Look, I gotta get these. I gotta get this delivery made
Work gal says not sure lol.
before the rain comes. Here we go. Come on now. These delicatessen. There you are. Oh,
You're currently closed.
I know that.
We will reopen tomorrow and are regularly scheduled.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Oh, that's no good.
Work gal says we got stuck in the ran yesterday.
Hello. Thanks for choosing Lenny.
It's not gonna work. Come on. Hey, good morning. Thank you. Good, how are you? It's starting to come down a little bit. So, I have to run this over there.
Work gal says pudding.
Ship with you. All right, one to go.
P-PR2T2 says I'm young Nigel. I just had some problems.
That's good. That's done.
PC says pudding in Swiss Miss. That does sound good.
One down.
All water.
Okay, we made it. All right. One down.
King C says sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy.
Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. All right, here we go. Whoops. Came out of nowhere. All right. We're gonna go this way, so that we can see the car. The car's there. We haven't started this contest yet, but we will. There's the car. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start going around this way. This is gonna be our new route.
Pork Gal says, Craig, can you show us the goods daily? At HB-PR2TQ says a beautiful song.
Show us the goods. I don't have any goods in the van now. I will get some though. Hold on. We're in the middle of deliveries at the moment. All right, here we go. So I'm empty. The van is empty right now. And look, the rain picked up as soon as I got done. It worked out pretty good. I love when that happens.
King C says the one good thing about Craig's singing is that he will never get a copyright strike because it sounds nothing like it should. New York Gal says Mookie did say he couldn't hold out.
That's why I sing like that, Mookie. It's normally I could sing. You probably wouldn't even be able to tell.
PR2TQ says hi Craig. Everyone, it's nice to see ya. Hope you all have a decent day.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for stopping in.
Gal says HB, how are you today?
Yeah, the rain is coming down pretty good right now. But Mookie, what I do is I purposely
Pork Gal says it's lovely to see you too HB.
make it sound different than the real song to avoid any potential copyright confusion. Wow, it's like pouring. We just made it. The road, something in the road. Bag.
B-PR2TQ says I appreciate ya NY Gal. Thanks, I am doing okay, how are you? At Mukim C says that makes better sense. I thought you were just awful naturally.
No, no. So yesterday with my gimbal, I really got some good practice in with it. I'm not a pro, but I'm pretty good at the basics. I walked completely around Fort McHenry. They have a path that goes around the whole fort along the edge of the water. You know what? We're just gonna go. We're gonna go up. Like that way.
Team C says did the gimbal battery hold okay?
Yeah, it did. The gimbal battery, I think it says it should last 10 hours. So I walked around the fort, and then I used it again. I went to the mall where I was originally going to go. I changed the plans to Fort McHenry because I thought maybe I was going to be able to see some cherry blossoms, which I did see, but they weren't blooming yet. But then I went to the mall and walked around in the mall. So I probably used it for an hour, maybe, total.
Sire007 says good morning Craig, hope you're good, and hello at Nigel333, good to see you. I think I saw you on Josh's channel.
Good morning. Welcome to the van. But even after using it for a couple hours,
Gal says hello.
I plugged.
Don't know Josh.
I plugged it in last night to see if it needed a charge, and it really didn't. So, yeah, the battery held out really well.
Team C says John.
Oh, John. Yeah, I saw John was on last. I wasn't online much yesterday, but
Sire007 says cheers, and at Nigel333 the here hold my beer guy lol. New York gal says driving beep beep. At Mukim C says hello to you. At Craycray007.
yeah, John's over in Tennessee.
Sire007 says, and yeah, I watch John's DoorDash too.
I didn't get to see him yesterday. I saw him the day before.
Sire007 says at Mukim C got to see you. .4923 says winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
Team C says what's the next adventure for you and the gimbal?
You're in Australia, I assume.
At Craycray007 says you got the UK weather lol.
My next gimbal adventure is going to be Washington next week. Next Thursday, I'm going to be down there for a couple hours in the afternoon. I did find out though that, you know,
He says good morning. At Sivor9223.
if you're
New York gal says nice.
if you're walking around with, like if you walk around with a selfie stick. You know, people will like look at you, right? If you're walking along with your phone attached to a selfie stick, you get a little attention for that. Some people will look at you and wonder what the heck you're doing. Well, if you're walking around with a gimbal, it takes it to the next level. Like, as I'm walking, there were a lot of people actually at Fort McHenry. And yeah, they definitely don't know what you're doing. They're kind of like, they can't quite figure out what it is that you're holding. And you can tell it's driving them a little crazy because they're looking and they're thinking, what is that guy doing? And why is he walking like that? Because you got to walk a little bit. You got to walk as...
King C says, are you still going to support the egg roll?
Well, I'm not going to be like one of the volunteers at the event, but I'm taking Janet is going to be a volunteer, and she has to go next Thursday to do training. I'm not sure. I guess they just have to teach them where to go and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if she... Let's see how that goes. We're back. We're back. And yes, I could still hear chat. So that does work. If I'm buffering for a long time, you let me know. I don't know what happened there.
King C says it was his singing.
Maybe it's the rain. I don't know. Weird. But yeah, I
Tires 007 says yes, he's back, lol.
Back. I am back. Yeah, I can always still hear the chat, which is very strange.
Net says that was a big buffer. And I don't think I need to wear anything specific.
Oh, look.
At HB-PR2TQ says, yay, we're back.
You don't have to wear bunny ears. I have bunny ears. No, I don't have bunny ears anymore.
Orc Gal says it cut out right when he said, as Janet tried on the suspenders.
Yeah, you have to wear Easter suspenders.
King C says lol. Pianet says it just said to wear something comfortable on day of since I'll be standing for a majority of my shift.
And how long is your shift?
Orc Gal says nice Gigi. At Gideonet says good morning to everyone.
Like on the day of the egg roll, how long is that day?
Orc Gal says good morning to you. At Gideonet says 5:15 a.m. to 12:15.
Wow.
Sires 00.
That's a long day. And it's totally volunteer, right? Like, do they pay for your parking or anything? What do they... Or is it just totally... It's totally out of the goodness of your heart.
Pianet says there was an option to sign up for the full day, but I have my limits. Ha ha ha. At Mooking C says good morning. At Gideonet, are you getting more and more excited?
It is kind of exciting.
Toyo 1973 says good morning everyone, time to start the day.
Hey,
At
Toyo.
Gideonet says totally volunteering, but I will write it off on my taxes next year.
What are you going to write off? The mileage? Your egg consumption?
Orc Gal says hi Toyo.
So, how do you know? Are you going to be coloring the eggs
He
and
says
stuff?
hello there. At Toyo 1973. At Gigionet says my volunteer hours. Ha ha.
Will you be hiding the eggs? Like, how does that work? Or do you just walk around and keep the kids from getting too many? You know, I looked up.
Gigionet says I am excited to do it. I think it will be mostly directing people, answering questions, etc. At Nukin C says egg police.
I looked at the. I was looking at how to get from the airport to that location.
Gigionet says my biggest effort will be me trying to get on the news in the background.
You just look for the camera people. Yeah, Google had me pulling up to the
Sire007 says what's the gas price there? It's $8 a gallon in UK.
What? $8 a gallon? Are you? I mean, normally your prices are in the liters. Are you really $8 a gallon? But the Google Maps was going to take me to the address of that building, which is not. I know where they want. I know exactly where to go to drop you off. But
Craycray007 says yep, 1.52 pa liter equals $8 a gallon.
Jeez.
At Gigionet says yikes. At Craycray.
We're like in the high threes. So I've seen it like between 380s, 390s. We don't have too many stations that are above 4. And actually I saw a couple of stations that were down this morning.
G-TR2TQ says geez Louise, that's insane.
That might actually slow people down from driving. I don't think $3 to $4 is probably going to stop too many people, but that would.
PC says I think the national average in the USA is about 3.89 a gallon.
Yeah, that's
At Craycray007 says at Gigionet, California is at $6 a gallon from what I know, but yeah, USA gets much lower prices than UK. At Gigionet says I stopped yesterday at Buc-ee's in South Carolina and it was 3.39 a gallon.
Well, I was listening to part of John's ride from yesterday. This morning, I was trying to catch up, and I think he thought he was getting gas for like 3. He's in Tennessee at the moment, and I think he got gas 3.32 or something like that. There's some place called Waggles. Has anybody ever heard of Waggles? It's like bagels with a W. No, it looks like it would be said Weagles. It's like W-E-I-G-L-E something or other. I never heard of it before, but anyway, that's where he got gas. It was 3.32 in Tennessee yesterday.
Orc Gal says negative. At Craycray007 says lol, never heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't either. It looks like it's like a convenience store / gas station kind of thing.
Orc Gal says bagel with strawberry cream cheese sounds to go long. P-PR2TQ says I dunno no Weigels or whatever.
No, I've never heard of them before, but they're in Tennessee apparently.
Short Gal says you said bagel, my mind took me there, I'm sorry.
No, me too. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I might have been saying bagel. Crazy though over in Europe. But is it true that like in the UK you probably don't drive as much as we do, right? Like I wonder what the average commute is compared to the US.
PC says, does the price change a lot depending on what part of the UK you're in, or is it the same everywhere? At ChrisIers007. At HB-PR2TQ says, isn't there a grocery store called Piggly Wiggly?
I have heard of Piggly.
At
I've never seen one.
ChrisIers007 says Norway has highest gas price in the world, $12 a gallon, and in the UK I drive only 6 miles a day commute.
Yeah, see, that's very short compared to most US. I mean, that doesn't make the price any better.
007 says at Mooking C price is basically the same everywhere in UK.
That's a lot though. See, like that highs right there is 389. I have heard of the grocery store called Piggly Wiggly, but I've never seen one.
HB-PR2TQ says big yikes Norway.
Norway. Isn't that where the Vikings came from?
King C says my favorite TV show out of the UK is Taskmaster. At ChrisIers007 says this is why a lot of people in the UK drive smart CZRS now, lol, those tiny 600cc engine cars as they get 60 miles per gallon.
Yeah, that's true. They do drive very small cars. I remember when everybody thought the US was going to go to really small cars. They started trying to move everybody that direction, and then all of a sudden everybody bought an SUV. So they actually got bigger instead of smaller. Are there very many electric cars in the UK? Like, do people drive any electric? See, I would think that would work out pretty good in the UK because the commute is less distance. There are people in the US that commute crazy distances.
ChrisIers007 says you need a big car in the USA as long highway journeys. You could not do that in a tiny car, and yes, we drive a lot of electric cars here, but the batteries are not reliable. At Mooking C says
really?
I think a lot of roads in the Ally are tight and confined in the UK. A smaller car has an advantage.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, our roads get wider and bigger the further west you go, and south. Florida's got some pretty big open highways. Like I've watched Sean up in Boston. He's got some streets up there that are pretty narrow.
Sires007 says a friend of mine had a 5-year-old Nissan Leaf and the battery died. It cost her $7,000 to replace it.
Jeez. I wonder if that's worth it. That Tesla did not want to wait for that truck. Do it.
Pianet says at Chris Ayers that's crazy expensive. At C says I could buy a lot of AAA batteries for $7,000. At Chris Ayers 007 says go speed racer law.
I like to give trucks a lot of leeway going around a circle, but they usually let you pass them when they come out.
Sires 007 says at Gigionet yep law.
I think my brother looked at getting a smart car one time. I don't think he's on here yet this morning. But, you know, I think what really changed his mind was when he found out it took like 20 minutes to go from 0 to 60. That's the one thing I like about Teslas, have good acceleration.
North Gal says 20 minutes. Hellcat says it honestly wasn't all that crazy with has mileage anyway. New York Gal says you mean seconds.
No, I meant minutes. It took forever for those cars to go from 0 to 60. I remember, that's the one thing that stood out to me was I could never drive a car. Like, I just, if you hit the gas pedal and it doesn't
Sires007 says yeah, the smart cars are not fast, but you can get a 1-liter turbo version that does 60 miles per hour in 9 seconds, but then you lose that fuel efficiency law.
Right.
New York Gal says oh okay LMAO.
Yeah.
King C says someone I work with refuses to buy a ride in a smart car because he thinks it's smarter than him.
They're so small though. Aren't they the cars where, like, if you're behind them, you feel like you're in the back seat of the car when you pull up? If you pull up behind one of them at a traffic light, you just feel like you're in the car. They're like so close to you. It's crazy. All right, maybe I pull up too close, but still.
Craycray007 says yeah they look like a box on wheels lol. Hellcat says didn't you briefly try out a Prius?
I did. Now, a Prius actually had pretty good acceleration. And I didn't realize it. Like at the time I thought that was kind of weird for a battery. But now that Tesla's come out, I realize it might just be a feature. Like I think electric cars have an advantage on acceleration. But I did, yeah I did. I was gonna buy it. I actually did almost buy one. And then at the last minute the dealership started changing all these things, like I forget what it was. It was something to do with the price that they like tried to flip around on me at the end, and it was going to be like an extra, I don't know, $5,000 or some number that was unacceptable to me.
Team C says electric cars can have a lot of torque, I think.
Yeah.
At Chris007 says yeah the Model S Plaid version is insane. That thing does 60 miles per hour in like 2 seconds.
I know. That's when you feel like you're in a spaceship. And I guess the way it's designed, you know, you don't spin the wheels or anything. It's like it has traction. Okay, here we are. Gonna load up the van. The lights, that's the okay. All right, let me get the donuts for what a day. Here, I'll leave you guys in here. You sit right there. All right, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Pianet says he should take us inside the bakery. How dare he leave us just sitting here? Kim C says at least the music is slightly peppy. B-PR2TQ says how dare you. Calcat says maybe Bob and Jen don't allow it. Annette says I'll ask Jen. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Kat says as long as she's not on camera. At Mukin C says I guess we will all just have to meet up there in person and take a tour. Kat says the Craycray meetup. At Gideonet says at Mookie I think that's a great idea. Kim C says we can rent a van and drive Craig's route to have the authentic experience. Kim C says at Cameron's Ways Double Hazy already has the title. Cat says, what's my title? Kim C says the Craycray meetup. At Kim C says 2026.
Hey everybody, got a cookie for Our Lady today. Gas station attendant. Happening.
Cat says, oh okay, gotcha. I was hearing that as I had a title of some kind.
All right, here we go. Load it up. Gotta get gas today.
He says a cookie. Good word is getting out of.
And you know what was funny? So I didn't even think of the cookie. I have to give the credit to Bob today. So he said, if you have to get gas today, don't you want to take a cookie? I'm like, yeah, you know what, I do. So fortunately, he saved me today. So I got the cookie, and then I'm looking on the tray at the. I didn't see a pink one at first. So Jennifer goes, "Are you looking at the pink one?" I'm like, "Yes, I am, as a matter of fact." All right, what am I doing now? Let's do this. Here we go. On our way to what a day. And then we are going to get gas.
Team C says someone is smitten.
You guys. She's just very nice. She's a very nice lady. I have to talk about her coworker. Just loiters at the pumps. What is that? It is getting cooler. Geez, it's like 53 degrees. It's already like 10 degrees cooler than when I was in there, what, an hour and a half ago. It's dropped.
It says be careful, Craig. It starts with a cookie and ends with us riding along on your first date.
Yeah, I promise that if I ever go out on a date with this gas station attendant, I will take a live stream of it.
King C says lol.
I feel pretty confident making that promise.
Or gal says ha 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 GGLMFAO. Good with him to deliver don't.
But it has gotten 10 degrees cooler in the last hour and a half. It's dropping fast. It's dropping fast. This could be the beginning of the ice age.
B-PR2TQ says yikes burr. New York gal says Craig GE.
GE. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right then. I hit the rump.
B-PR2TQ says what state is this again?
We are in Maryland. Kind of central Maryland, northwest of Baltimore. About 15 miles south of Pennsylvania.
HB-PR2TQ says alright. Thanks man.
We've had some really good weather, but
King C says Starlink seems to be struggling a little bit in the rain.
yeah, maybe that's what happened earlier. I wonder if that does happen. We buffering? It is a funny thing. I mean, I guess there are so many satellites up there that it depends on which one you're connected to at any particular moment. And whether whether the connection's good, but it does seem to be stronger on sunny days. I have noticed that too.
King C says you need to get a gimbal for the Starlink so when you hit a bump, it stays stable. At HB-PR2TQ says only rains like 6 days a year here lol.
Wow. Where is here? Where is that? 6 days a year. Oh, are you out west? Like, they could.
P-PR2TQ says Western Arizona.
Ah, yeah. It gets hot there though. I know, it's dry. But it does get pretty hot. All right, we're right by the house. Nobody say anything. Up. Couldn't really see it too clearly. We just went by the house. And I can tell you, I will report that it is still decorated. I saw the choir people. You know what? They should come up with a thing that holds the Starlink in the right angle facing. I mean, if you want it to be perfect, because they have an app for this, right? So when you have a Starlink.
Do you see many rattlesnakes? At HB-PR2TQ.
I saw a rattlesnake once. Well, I actually heard it more than I saw it. But it would be cool if they had a device that kept the Starlink angled properly and facing the right direction in the sky. Because there is an optimal position for it. It's got to be tilted a little bit and facing kind of north. Now, of course, that doesn't happen when it's just sitting on top of an automobile. But for the strongest, clearest signal, there is a particular angle that they want you to put it in.
P-PR2TQ says yeah, we already had several days 100, when the normal for end of March is low 80s. Next week we get to normal temps I think.
Yeah, we're going back to, we were much warmer than usual, but we're going back to normal temp. Actually, in the last hour, we've been going back to normal temperatures. Like to start the day at 66 degrees in March is pretty unusual here. I don't remember which city I was in Arizona one time, but I do remember the heat was insane. Like when you walked out of a building, it's like the same feeling you get when you open the oven and you're going to put something in the oven, so you you open the door and you get that burst of heat in your face. That's what it was like when you walked out of the hotel when I was visiting I forget which city I was in. It was a work trip. Of course, with Maryland, when it gets hot, it's more like you just stepped out of the shower. You just took a really hot shower. It gets all steamy. The little light came on and said we need gas. We're going to get it on the way back. Going to Target.
B-PR2TQ says nah Mickey, if only cause I stay indoors almost always. Funny, just the other day I saw someone post they saw a rattlesnake, might have been my town or not. Sure they're around, hope I don't run into any.
Yeah, snakes are kind of creepy, I think. Never really had a snake.
B-PR2TQ says the oven analogy is on point. Hellcat says you've had a run-in with a rattlesnake.
Yeah, I did. That's true. I did. I stepped on a rattlesnake one time. I did. Fortunately, that was before live streaming days.
B-PR2TQ says, did it bite you?
No. No. Fortunately, it did not. I was probably wearing regular Nike shoes. You know, I don't know. I don't know what kind of shoes I had on. Maybe I had on a solid shoe, and I know I had long regular pants on, so it didn't get me. But
B-PR2TQ says few. Fortunate.
I hightailed it out of that, out of the field that I was in. If you can imagine, I was like taking steps. I was lifting my feet up super high and running at the same time. I'm sure it looked quite comical from the road, if anybody saw it.
Cat says I believe it's called high stepping.
Yeah, I was definitely high stepping. I mean, what do you do? If you get bit by a rattlesnake, you have to go to the hospital. How quickly will you die? Like, these are all thoughts that were going through my mind after it happened. You know? Like, do you have hours?
B-PR2TQ says thanks for sharing these details. I am glad you were okay. How long ago was this?
Ooh. I don't know. Cameron might have a closer guess on the year.
That says June of 1998.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago.
That says probably the 7th.
Probably the 7th of June, really?
King C says, hey Martha. That Craig neighbor kid is walking funny again. Do you think he stumbled on our fake snake again?
Oh no.
Hellcat says yes. This is the hat before that we were in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so just to explain the scenario. So we were driving Route 66.
B-PR2TQ says, oh gotcha. Got a good memory for dates like myself.
Yeah, I'm not so good with the exact dates on anything other than my birthday, Christmas, New Year's. But yeah, we were riding across the country on Route 66. And this was along the way. We were walking across the field. It was definitely, I mean, it made the rattle. And the grass was kind of high. I mean, the grass was probably like 10, 12 inches.
G-PR2TQ says Mookie.
Maybe more. But we were kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I really don't know. Like, do people really die from rattlesnake bites? Like, does that happen?
Kinsey says why were you in a field? At HB-PR2TQ says hat before that.
We were in a field because we were driving along the highway in this particular section of Route 66. We were on a highway. It wasn't the original road. Like, we drove as much of the original road as you possibly could. But during this particular section, you needed to be on the highway because the road was kind of gone. But there was a culvert further up. So you're like parallel to where the route was originally laid out. And I don't remember, I don't know the distance, maybe 1,000 feet off the road, maybe more. 1,000 feet would be like 3 football fields, right? Yeah, maybe like 1,000, 1,500 feet off the road. There was a culvert which was there from the original Route 66. So we were walking across the field to get a better look at this original section or piece of Route 66. And we didn't get there. I don't know how far off the road we were, but we got back to the pavement very quickly. Pretty much screaming, high stepping and screaming. Yeah, you can imagine that. And I'm sure it wasn't the only rattlesnake out there. Like, there probably were others.
Kinsey says you wanted to pay respects to a culvert. Now I understand. Hellcat says we were on a frontage road and the culvert was on the other side of a fence maybe 30 yards away.
You think it was only 30 yards away? I guess that's possible.
Says we did get some pics before the snake ended that.
Oh,
HB-PR2TQ says that's definitely unsettling. Thank goodness nobody was bitten.
Yeah, seriously. Well, and yeah, because we were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there were sections of the road that were, I mean, we drove as much as we possibly could, including some sections that were just maybe a step above a dirt road. I mean, at times we were kind of like driving through a ranch. Didn't even feel like we were on a road, really. Look, it stopped raining again.
That says we were in Texas, west of Amarillo.
West of Amarillo. That sounds like a song. You could easily make a song nowadays. I've been watching OG Shaun White, and he's got that song generator where you just like plug in some keywords and the genre, and it'll create the music for you. He's been pretty much making.
He says that's a long way to go to deliver cookies. At HB-PR2TQ says interesting Cameron.
All right, highs is $3.99 today. Oh, you know what? The light's not blinking. Glad we didn't do that contest. We didn't do that contest. We're gonna do the when is the car. We're gonna do the car, and we're gonna do gas prices. They're gonna be our new watch items. But yeah, the light is not blinking on High's roof anymore. It looks like it's just not on at all. I thought that was probably gonna happen. Or they turned it off because it's sort of starting to be daylight. Sort of. Like if it wasn't cloudy today, it would be brighter. So maybe it's off because of the time. We're a little bit later than usual. We're usually here closer to 6:30. Action Metal, that's the name of this song. Now see, we're going to pass a truck that is parked on the left-hand side of the road up
He
here.
says, they watch the stream and are trying to mess with your mind.
Maybe. That'd be funny. Yeah, no, the light's not on. See that truck that was parked on the left-hand side of the road there? That guy just, he parks there and goes into Highs. Like he does, I don't know if I like that. That's a bad thing to do. All right, look, it stopped. I don't want to jinx us, but you know, the rain stopped as soon as we came to make this delivery. It happens all the time. Do they know I'm here? Do they know I'm here? Whoops, your phone's not registered on a network. Yes, it is. What are you talking about? That was weird. Oh, here we go. Here's my country music. Come on, y'all. Open the door. All right, I don't think they're gonna pick it up. I think they're just gonna come open the door. There they are. All right. Here we are, country. Yee-haw! All right. Let's go get our rack. Guy at the drive-thru is eyeing the donuts. We might have a customer. Person got a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. I didn't hear a donut order on that one. Hi. Good morning. How are you? Good. Good morning. Have a good day. All right. All right. Okay, here we go. Next stop, gas station. See, we got the light on, watch. Red alert, red alert. This location looks like a trap.
P-PR2TQ says this location looks like a trap.
I saw the chat on that one. This is where gloves go to die. What am I doing? Whoa. Oh no, look, it's blinking now. Now the light's blinking again. Somebody is playing with us. I think you're right. I think they're watching. They're probably like, all right, Nick, go turn it on. Go turn it on. He's over there now. Oh, see, there's not enough rain to make the windshield wipers necessary. Yeah, it's blinking again. Like, it was not blinking when we came up, I swear. It's getting brighter. That was a profound statement, right? Like, as the morning goes along, it gets brighter. Just in case anybody was wondering. No, but I've noticed that those trucks, they like pull up on the road. They just pull over to the right-hand side of the road there, park, and run over to Highs. Like, instead of just going into the parking lot, going into Highs, and then coming out. I don't think that's really a good thing to do.
B-PR2TQ says yes, brilliant deduction, Craig Law. At Mukim C says I attend these sessions for the moments of wisdom.
I try to make it, beneficial, educational. So hopefully we get the good pump where I can pull out as far as I need to keep the satellite exposed.
King C says keep the mic on so we can hear you try to woo someone.
Oh, I'll definitely keep the mic on. You can hear what kind of lines, the lines I'm using. My pickup lines. I mean, she might not be there. When was the last time I got gas?
B-PR2TQ says it's entertaining. You and the people here in chat are great. At Gigionet says haha. Yes, I need to hear what's going on. At Mukim C says we can be an audio witness when she ends up slapping you.
I do like the fact that you guys can hear me it took me a while to get used to the fact that I didn't have to say, all right, I'll be right back, like when I got out of the van. Since you were usually going with me anyway. I kind of like that. I know they, sometimes with the shopping, like I see people, the DoorDash that do shopping, and when they go into a store, they mute their microphones because of the music. It's kind of a shame. It's a shame that we have to do that. Sometimes when I go in that, sometimes, not bakery, when I go in that cafe, what a day. Sometimes they have the music going pretty loud in there. But
Pianette says just be careful. It starts with a cookie and will end up with you being yelled at for not taking the trash out. It's a slippery slope.
It's true. It's true. It's a little Easter cookie.
King C says lol.
So 1 week from today is Good Friday, right? So we're a week away from Easter at this point, basically. I do like Easter. I used to hide Easter eggs in the office when I was in my office job. That's kind of fun. I think that's what I liked about working in an office. That it was almost like being, in an episode of The Office almost every day.
PR2TQ says why is it almost April already? Wow.
These are April showers. Baseball started. I mean, we made it. We made it out of winter. Before you know it, we'll all be upset with how hot it is. I turned the air conditioner on last night. It was getting up to like 77, 78 degrees in the house. And it didn't look like it was going to get really cool which it did. It didn't get cool last night. So I did it for AJ. I didn't want AJ to be too warm. He was starting to pant. Actually, I think it's going to get cold in the house today because I didn't flip it back to heat this morning. So the heat is not going to come on if it drops. Well, it's only 50 degrees.
P-PR2TQ says lol under 80 starts to be chilly to me.
Under 80. Woo. I would say under 60 is chilly. '80 is a good temperature, though. It's in the good zone. Do you get like breeze though? Like, do you at least, even if it's super hot, Or is the wind normally
B-PR2TQ says under 60. My goodness, hard pass. New York gal says yup, summer too hot lol.
Well, what is too hot? What is the temperature where you feel like it's too hot? Like for me, it's probably somewhere in the low 90s. When you start going above 90, it's starting to get uncomfortable. I think.
B-PR2TQ says it's somewhat frequently breezy here.
Well, that's good. Even the heat feels there's some kind of air blowing around.
York gal says haha, oh no.
Oh no.
York gal says best temp 60s.
60? Whoa. I mean, I think the 60s are good. 70s are better. 80s are okay. And 90s where it starts to get kind of weird. Especially if it gets humid. Like 90s with no humidity probably isn't that bad.
Leonette says I agree at Nigel.
60s? Yeah. Yeah, I think 60s are good, but I like 70s a little better. Plus in the 70s, you know, that's when disco really started. That was good.
York gal says 70s, 80s, 80s too hot. I love 60s, 50s.
Whoa, now she's down to 50s. I don't know. Like it's 53 degrees right now. Now it is raining, so that makes it feel a little colder, I think, but 50s is a little too cool for me. It's not like horrible. But I'd rather it be 60s, 70s. A little bit of 80s. I wonder what this summer's going to be like. You know how sometimes we'll have a couple days that hit 100. And then other years we'll have a week or more where it hits 100. That reminds me, I gotta get I have that BG&E service where they come out and they'll just update your, you know, just do like an annual maintenance thing on your air conditioner. I should do that. They make it look like it's free, like they just come out and do it for free. Which is nice because they don't bill you for it when they come out and do it. But I just figured out that I pay for like $400 a year for this service. They'll also come out and fix stuff. If anything breaks, they'll come out and fix it. So it is convenient. I took the gimbal to the mall yesterday. I did that after I went to Fort McHenry. And I was surprised at how many, I mean, they're not like brand name stores. They're all small, you know, little shops, but there are more shops in the Westminster town mall than I thought. I mean, it still seems like it's probably less than 50% of the stores, but
P-PR2TQ says too much wind here though, and a certain bacteria in the soil goes airborne and may cause valley fever.
ooh. Well, that doesn't sound good. We just get pollen. I was watching a YouTuber the other day. His name's Ian on YouTube or something. I don't know what his channel name is, something like Ian on YouTube or something. But anyway, he used to live in Arizona or California. I think it was California. It was the desert area of California. And he's recently moved to Arkansas. And the other day, he was, you know, he doesn't live stream a lot. He just does a lot of videos and stuff. He live streams occasionally, but he was showing his car, and his car was like covered with haze, and he had no idea what it was. He was literally, he made a video. I don't know if it was a short or just part of the video. I don't remember which it was, but he actually mentioned in a video that he was, he's like showing his car, and he's like, does anybody know what this is? Every day I come out and my car is covered with this green haze. And he had no idea what it was. Somebody finally told him that it was pollen. All right, our gas pump is there. I don't know if Our Lady is there. Who's there? All right, so I got to pull through super far. I haven't got this down. You still lose me for a second, I think, when I'm driving through. I don't see her. Oh, no. Back. I don't know what happened there. All right. Looks like I'm back. weird. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back on the road. All right, I don't know what happened there. Not only, like, I don't think it reconnected when I came out from under the thing, but I had a connection, so I restarted the phone, and then it came back and it was like just a blank screen. So I couldn't get that to work. So then I restarted the phone again. Anyway, I think I'm back now. So you didn't miss anything. I got gas. Now I know how far I can pull the car, because that was about as far as I would want to pull the car or the van. I don't think it was a connection issue. I think there was something weird about, I mean, maybe it started that way, but I was having issues with the phone, I think. Anyway, we're back. We're back. I wonder how long a stream can be dead before it can no longer be brought back to life. And don't say 3 days. Yeah, when I pulled the van through the pump area, I was about as far from the pump as I could be without. If there were any more tension on the nozzle, I wouldn't, like, you know what I mean? I would be a little uncomfortable pulling it any further. Maybe being a rainy day, it was too far. Maybe the signal is weaker on a rainy day. Check that out. It's 7:30. I do have traffic behind me today, so I'm not going to be able to slow down when I pass the Christmas house. But we can get a shot of it quickly.
P-PR2TQ says we're back again, woo woo.
We are. So, yeah, I don't know. I had multiple issues, I think, happening. I guess the weak signal, maybe there is a difference on a rainy day for the signal. So I think the signal might have been weaker. I pulled through far enough. I mean, I can't possibly pull through the pump area any further. But then when I restarted my phone, it said it was connected, but it was showing like just a black screen. There was nothing, it was weird. So anyway, took a couple of extra steps to get it live. All right, here we go. We're gonna pass this house, the Christmas tree house, or the Christmas decoration house. Oh, it looks the same to me. Still got the choir. Still have Snoopy. We still have the Halloween decoration. The Halloween decoration that is decked out for Christmas. So, no change. I would say...
P-PR2TQ says I'm silly tech.
I would say we probably have a few more days, at least a few more days, because he's not going to go out and do anything today. I think it's going to be pretty chilly the next 3 or 4 days. Bus was sitting back there waiting. Yeah, the one good thing about today, both deliveries occurred when the rain had stopped temporarily. It's pretty nice.
P-PR2TQ says maybe those decorations don't get taken down this year.
I think they will. And the reason I say that is because he decorates for other holidays. Like, I mean, he does a big deal for Halloween. I had people telling me that he did something for Easter, but he doesn't really have time to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that happening. But he's got to take some more of that down though. Otherwise, it would be a hassle to like trim around it when you're cutting the grass, or he's gonna have to take that stuff down. He's got to do it. Got to do it.
PR2TQ says got 9 days till Easter, maybe he will decorate.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he'll decorate and then he'll leave that up until the 4th of July. I heard yesterday that they're going to create some, what do you call it? It's not the bicentennial. What do you call this 250-year anniversary? Like in 1976, we had the whole big bicentennial. What do you call this? But I heard that they're going to make coins, which they did back in 1976 also. Had a whole collection. I think it was mainly quarters. I just remember the quarters. For the bicentennial celebration. But on the news the other day, they said something about dimes and quarters and nickels, I think. I think they said all. I mean, they don't make pennies anymore, so that's not going to happen. A weak spot if we don't have a good connection. We'll through this